Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi, why their chemistry still has fans rewatching years later. There are countless on-screen couples in the entertainment industry. Some become wildly popular while their drama is airing, dominate social media for a few weeks, and then gradually disappear from the public conversation once the final episode ends. But every once in a while, there is a pairing that refuses to fade. Years can pass. New dramas can come and go. The actors can take on completely different roles. And yet, all it takes is one familiar scene, one glance, or one unexpected interaction for audiences to start talking about them all over again. Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi are one of those rare pairings. But what exactly makes their chemistry so memorable? Is it the stories they shared on screen? Their acting abilities? Their personalities? Or is there simply something about the way they look at each other that audiences find impossible to ignore? Perhaps the most fascinating part is that their appeal doesn't seem to come from exaggerated displays of affection. Instead, it's the small moments. A glance that lasts a second longer than expected. A smile that appears almost unconsciously. The way one actor reacts to the other before saying a single word. Those details are difficult to manufacture. And that may be precisely why audiences continue to revisit the moments between Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi. So today, let's go back to where this story really began. It all started with The Long Ballad. When Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi appeared together in The Long Ballad *, very few viewers could have predicted what would happen next. At the time, they weren't presented as the main romantic pairing. Wu Lei portrayed a shy son, while Zhao Lusi played Li Liyin. Their characters had their own storylines, and their screen time together was relatively limited compared with the drama's central romance. And yet, something unexpected happened. Whenever the two appeared in the same scene, viewers began noticing their chemistry. It wasn't necessarily dramatic. There were no constant romantic moments designed specifically to make audiences fall in love with them. Instead, their interactions felt surprisingly comfortable. Their conversations had an easy rhythm. Their expressions felt natural. Their reactions to one another didn't seem overly calculated. For many viewers, that was enough to make them wonder. Why aren't these two the main couple? That question began appearing again and again across online discussions. And the more people talked about them, the more curiosity grew. What would happen if Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi were actually given a story where they were the romantic leads? At first, it was simply a wish among viewers. But eventually, that wish became reality. And when Love Like the Galaxy, also known as Xinghen Lan, was announced, the excitement surrounding the pairing exploded. This time, Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi weren't playing supporting characters who happened to cross paths. They were the leads. And their characters, Ling Buyi and Cheng Xiaoxiang, would become one of the most talked about screen pairings of that period. Then came Ling Buyi and Cheng Xiaoxiang. If The Long Ballad planted the seed, Love Like the Galaxy turned that seed into a phenomenon. From the very beginning, the dynamic between Ling Buyi and Cheng Xiaoxiang immediately captured attention. Their personalities were completely different. Ling Buyi was controlled, mysterious, serious, and difficult to read. Cheng Xiaoxiang, meanwhile, was intelligent, outspoken, stubborn, and wonderfully unpredictable. On paper, they couldn't have been more different. But somehow, that contrast worked. And this is where Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi's chemistry became impossible to overlook. One of the most frequently discussed aspects of their performances was their eye contact. Ling Buyi didn't always need to say what he was thinking. Sometimes, his expression was enough. When Cheng Xiaoshang was happy, his gaze could soften. When she was upset, his expression could change almost imperceptibly. And when danger appeared, the concern in his eyes often communicated more than a long speech ever could. Meanwhile, Zhao Lusi's portrayal of Cheng Xiaoshang gave their relationship an entirely different energy. She could be playful one moment and emotionally vulnerable the next. That created a fascinating rhythm between the two characters. They weren't simply saying their lines. They were reacting to each other. And audiences noticed. Some viewers even said that watching the pair exchange glances felt as though there were entire conversations happening without dialogue. That is the kind of chemistry that keeps people watching. The chemistry didn't fade, it grew. Interestingly, one of the biggest strengths of Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi's pairing was that their chemistry didn't seem to depend on a single unforgettable scene. It developed gradually. Episode after episode, their relationship became more convincing. The longer audiences watched them together, the more invested they became. This is important because screen chemistry can be difficult to sustain. A pair may look convincing in promotional photos or in a handful of romantic scenes, but when placed together throughout an entire series, weaknesses can become obvious. With Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi, many viewers felt the opposite happened. The more they watched, the more natural the pairing seemed. Their relationship developed through tiny gestures and subtle changes in expression. And eventually, viewers weren't simply watching two actors perform a romance. They were emotionally invested in Ling Buyi and Cheng Xiaoshang. That distinction matters. Because when audiences become emotionally invested in the characters, they begin remembering the actors who brought those characters to life. And that's one reason the pairing continued to live beyond the drama itself. But then something even more interesting happened off-screen. If their on-screen chemistry was impressive, their off-screen interactions gave fans another reason to pay attention. Interviews, promotional events, live streams, and behind-the-scenes clips often became subjects of discussion. Fans began noticing how naturally Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi interacted. Sometimes one would make a joke and the other would immediately respond. Sometimes they appeared to finish each other's thoughts. Sometimes they simply laughed at the same moment. To ordinary viewers, these might be completely normal interactions between two colleagues who have worked together. But to fans invested in the pairing, every small moment became something worth replaying. And that is where the phenomenon became especially interesting. The appeal wasn't necessarily that they acted like a romantic couple. In fact, many fans were drawn to the opposite. They often appeared comfortable around each other. Almost like friends who already understood each other's rhythm. There was less sense of forced sweetness and more of a relaxed familiarity. And perhaps that is why their interactions felt so believable to audiences. Why does natural chemistry feel so powerful? Think about the couples we remember from television. Often, it's not the biggest kiss or the most expensive romantic scene that stays with us. It's a tiny moment. A character looking back after walking away. A smile that appears unexpectedly. Someone quietly noticing that the other person is upset. A hand reaching out without thinking. These details feel powerful because they resemble real human behavior. That's also why audiences can become fascinated by Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi's interactions. Their appeal doesn't necessarily come from something spectacular. It comes from the feeling that their reactions are effortless. Of course, we should make an important distinction here. Actors are professionals. Interviews are promotional appearances. And chemistry between two performers does not automatically mean there is a romantic relationship behind the scenes. Online discussions about Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi's relationship have continued for years, but romantic speculation from fans should not be confused with confirmation from the two actors themselves. As far as publicly available information shows, they are colleagues and friends. Everything beyond that remains speculation unless the people involved say otherwise. And perhaps, in the end, that uncertainty is part of why fans continue talking about them. The power of CP culture. There is another reason this pairing became so memorable: CP culture. For many fans, a screen pairing isn't necessarily about believing that two actors are secretly together. Sometimes it's simply about enjoying the emotional atmosphere they create when they appear together. A good CP can make audiences imagine possibilities. They can make viewers think, what if they worked together again? What would they be like in another story? Could they recreate that chemistry in a completely different role? That kind of curiosity can keep a pairing alive long after a drama has ended. And Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi benefited from exactly that kind of audience connection. Their performances gave viewers something to remember. Their promotional interactions gave fans additional moments to discuss. And social media gave those memories a place to circulate again and again. A clip from years ago can suddenly resurface. A familiar scene can become a trending topic again. Someone can post an old interview, and within hours, thousands of viewers are once again discussing the same chemistry they noticed years earlier. That's the strange power of memorable screen partnerships. They don't really disappear. They simply wait for someone to press replay. From The Long Ballad to Love Like the Galaxy. Looking back, the journey between their two collaborations is particularly fascinating. In The Long Ballad, audiences weren't initially expecting Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi to become a major screen pairing. Their characters weren't even the central romantic couple. Yet viewers noticed something. Then came Love Like the Galaxy. This time, the audience got exactly what many had been asking for. Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi became the central pair. And suddenly, all those earlier observations about their chemistry had a new context. Fans could look back at The Long Ballad and think, maybe we weren't imagining it. Of course, chemistry is subjective. What one viewer finds magical, another may simply see as good acting. But when a pairing generates this much discussion, there is clearly something about the combination that resonates with a large audience. And that resonance is difficult to manufacture. More than just looks. The entertainment industry is full of attractive actors. It is also full of talented performers. There are countless dramas with expensive production values, beautiful costumes, impressive cinematography, and carefully planned promotional campaigns. Yet not every pairing becomes unforgettable. That's because popularity alone doesn't guarantee emotional connection. A memorable screen couple needs something else. Trust between performers. Understanding of character. Good timing. The ability to respond naturally to another actor. And perhaps most importantly, the willingness to truly listen and react rather than simply wait for one's own line. Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi appear to have developed that kind of performance rhythm. Whether it came from preparation, experience, professional trust, or simply compatible acting styles, audiences felt the result. And ultimately, that's what matters most on screen. Why are people still talking about them? Years after viewers first watched them together, their scenes are still being revisited. Why? Because nostalgia is powerful. A drama isn't just a story. For many viewers, it becomes connected to a specific period of their lives. Maybe they watched it during school. Maybe they watched it while going through a difficult period. Maybe they stayed up late waiting for new episodes. Maybe they discussed every episode with friends. So when an old scene suddenly appears again years later, people aren't only remembering Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi. They are remembering who they were when they first watched them. That's why certain screen couples become almost impossible to replace. They become part of the audience's memories. And Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi seem to have achieved exactly that. Perhaps the answer is simpler than we think. Maybe we spend too much time trying to explain chemistry. Maybe it doesn't always need a complicated reason. Sometimes two actors simply work well together. One brings out something unexpected in the other. Their personalities create an interesting contrast. Their acting styles complement one another. And when the camera starts rolling, something clicks. Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi have shown audiences that kind of connection more than once. From their brief but memorable interactions in The Long Ballad to the emotional journey of Ling Buyi and Cheng Xiaoshang in Love Like the Galaxy, their collaboration created moments that viewers continue to remember. And perhaps that is the biggest compliment any screen pairing can receive. Not that they were popular for a season. Not that their drama generated millions of views. But that people still remember how they felt watching them. Because true screen chemistry doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need constant promotion. It doesn't need to be explained. Sometimes it's simply there, hidden in a glance, a smile, a pause, or the way one actor instinctively reacts to another. And when audiences feel it, they know. That's why Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi remain one of those pairings that fans can't quite let go of. Not necessarily because of what happened between them in real life, but because of what they created on screen. A story. A feeling. A collection of unforgettable moments. And perhaps, years from now, someone will still stumble across an old scene from Love Like the Galaxy press replay, and experience that same familiar feeling all over again. Because some screen couples don't simply finish when the drama ends. They stay alive in the memories of the people who watched them. And Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi may be one of the clearest examples of that. So now, it's your turn. Which Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi moment left the deepest impression on you? Was it one of their unforgettable scenes in The Long Ballad ? Was it Ling Buyi and Cheng Xiaoshang's relationship in Love Like the Galaxy ? Or was it one of their off-screen interviews, live streams, or behind-the-scenes interactions that made you notice their natural connection? Share your favorite moment in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There are plenty more unforgettable celebrity stories, iconic screen couples, and fascinating moments from the entertainment world waiting for you. Until next time, keep watching, because sometimes the smallest glance tells the biggest story.